What's up, people? Sharky back, and today I'm going to be looking at yet another G.I. Joe Classified series figure, and it is none other than Edwin Lifeline Steen. So, without further ado, let's get it popping. So straight off the bat, there's a look at what you get inside the box. More on that later. Here's number 186 in the line. There is your side panel art, and he's holding a pistol. Ooh, controversial right there. And there's a look at the back as he's running with his breathing mask. There's a fire in the background, and we still don't have a lot of clarification on what that is. It looks like something you would find on the USS flag, but I could be wrong. Close up of the head sculpt and the inside of his medical case. This is made in China, and if we pause for a moment, I will show you the barcode. So let's take a second, and then you can take a screenshot. And that is that. So we'll do some skill sets now, from left to right, because that's how I roll. First cab off the rank is Medic, and he is a level 3. Second one here is Light Weapons. He is a level 1. We're going to come back to that in a second. This one over here is Communications. He's a level 2. And the last one is Rescue. He's a level 4. Now, yes, he comes with a sidearm, as did the original figure. But giving him this, I feel like, is a bit pointless, because they could have lent into his ability in the martial art Aikido. If you've read the comics, you will know that he used that. I think it was Horror Show that he took down, I think in one of the Special Missions books back in the day. So yeah, I would have put that in there. Because why not? Why not give another character something that, you know, they could actually use, especially one that is commonly seen as a pacifist, even though that is one side of the law, all right? Because his file card never made mention of his pacifism. So when he was given the sidearm, which was Ron Rudat's decision, because he was the designer of this figure, he felt that he should go into battle, you know, with something to protect himself or others that he's caring for. So yeah, there you go. If you are a fan of the cartoon, then you're probably going to disagree with what I said, but this is what I mean. There's a couple of sides to the lore of this character, so don't get all silly in the comics now, all right? Anyway, that's the box out of the way. Let's get him out of it. I like to see how the figure stands straight out of the package, and whooshka, no issues there. I'll just do a little zoom in for you so you can have a little closer look while he's there and while I'm yammering on. This is also the point where I'm going to suggest that if you are new to the channel, welcome. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, because, well, look, here's a figure that is supposed to be coming out next year, and you're watching it here now, aren't you? So my track record speaks for itself. Just go back, check my other videos, talk to people, word on the streets out there, all right? Accessories, we're going to do those first, because that's also how I roll. He comes with 11 of them, and as I'm once again prone to do, I'm going to just pick something at random. We'll start with this little utility knife, I guess you could call it, which I believe is brand new. I don't recall ever seeing this one. It's kind of cool, but again, like with the hit and run figure, they've just done it in a solid black. Wouldn't it be nice if like the blade was silver? Just, you know, a little bit more paint. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, that's a knife. It is quite small, so we may as well just go ahead and tuck that in here so it's out of the way. That's pretty, yeah, that's snug. Okay, good. As you were, Edwin, he comes with a torch. And again, there's no paint on it at all. It is solid black, clearly, which is boring, a touch boring. They could have done green here for the lens of the torch. I don't know, just an idea. Anyway, we'll pop that there for now. He comes with 2 sets of goggles. You can have a look at both of those at the same time. One is smaller than the other to go over his head, and the other one is to fit over his helmet. Helmet one here, smaller one here. They have translucent lenses, as you can see. They're pretty basic, but they look to be far better quality than the ones I received with Hit and Run. But that's another story. So I'll just pop those there for now. You know what? Let's just chuck a pair on his head. Why not? Just so they're here. Yeah. Give him a nice little look. There you go. Bang those there for now. We will have a look at his IV bag. I guess you would say it would be a blood bag or for plasma. There's nothing in it to indicate what it is, but I guess you've got to use your imagination now, don't you? If you want really good blood bags, I suggest hitting up Gridiron Studios. I'm sure they will release a set again that includes them. They released a loadout for Doc that had them, which I believe I have somewhere, and they look great. They look much better than this, and that's the difference between something from Gridiron and something from Hasbro. But we'll just sit that there for now. It comes with his pistol. It's pretty basic. I don't think it's new. Like, there is not much detail on it at all. Yeah. Does it have a port for blast effects? Yes, it does. But yeah, very, very basic. We'll just go ahead and pop that in his holster here, which, if you don't like it, it's removable. But we'll have a look at that later on. Stay there, mate. These look pretty cool. Got those nice jade green lenses and the gold frames. Of course, reminiscent of the OG character, which was again done in the 30th anniversary version, which you see right here in front of you. Which you also notice he has a holster, but that is for, I think it was like some sort of injecting gun. I guess that's not a medical term. I'm just making that up, but that's what that is. It's not an actual weapon. I've armed him with something else altogether, and that's the OG backpack from the 86 figure. Yeah, 86 that I had made to fit him. Now, speaking of the backpack, here it is here, and this time they've gone for a two-tone look, which I dig. I like the white. It definitely pops. Like, obviously the silver one had more intricate detail to it. I might as well just take it off the figure so I can show you. I'm just going to hold these here. Hopefully the camera focuses. Yeah, it does. So this is a bit more bare bones, which is, of course, not a big surprise, but it's the same general gist, but it's not as dynamic as this one. Obviously, they've done away with a lot of detail and given you a nice little computer display, which I do like. Now, I'm no EMS, but I would dare say that is your pulse, heart rate, something else. Feel free to hit me up in the comments, Tony Figs. And yeah, the grey around here, it looks good. It's not tape, like it looks like it's tape, but it's not. It's, I guess it's supposed to be padded to fit his back. Dig it. Very nice. Does this move at all? No, it doesn't. I don't think it retracts. No, it doesn't. So it's a nice update. It's a nice update over this. We have his case, which I'm going to open up to show you. There's an upside down look at it. Pretty basic once again. Same on each side, there's no difference. Hinged here, and it clips here. Just open it up, and there's a look at the oxygen supply and some other equipment in there. Not a great deal of detail, it's nothing there at all, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the other one I have on the 4-inch figure, that one, and open that up. I like how that says rescue. This one does not. This is the inside of the 30th one. I want to get all this in here to show you. Now that is detail. There's a blood bag there which can come out. You have these, what do they call them? The shocking things. My brain's just farted and I cannot. Paddles for jump starting someone's heart. And they are a little bit fiddly to get out of here, especially on camera, but they do come out. And the amount of detail in this is fantastic for a 4-inch figure. Not really much of a comparison, is there, on that front? And, you know, I've got, these are inside there too. So you've got the little breathing apparatus, which sits in there somewhere. And there is also, this is part of the blood bag that goes in there too, to attach to the figure's arm. And that all fits in there nice and snug and closes up. So that's the 4-inch one. Whether or not any of the equipment that's down here fits in here, well, I don't know. We'll have to find that out, but I'm guessing it doesn't. Yeah. Not as good as that one. Anyway, we'll move on. This is the component breathing mask attachment, which is clearly clear. And that will, I'm guessing, port into somewhere. I'll have to figure that out in a minute. So yeah, there's not really much to it. It goes over a figure's face. End of story. And last but not least is his iconic helmet. And it's not often that you see helmets in the classified line in red, so this is just a little odd, but of course it makes sense, but just odd having a red helmet. That sounded wrong. Anyway, there's not a great amount of detail on it. It's got some comms, of course. That does not move that mic. It's firmly fixed in place like a lot of the other mics on helmets. But it is his helmet. So we've got some white pinstriping down here, which a little bit different to the 4-inch figure. I think I prefer this version than straight lines on his head. But that's all the kit. Why don't we have a look at the figure and before we kit him up. All right, starting at the top, we'll have a look at the face sculpt. And he looks pretty serious. I'm not sure how much I like it in terms of, you know, his face, but I mean, you're going to have him with the helmet on most of the time anyway, aren't you? Let's be honest. But I guess if you wanted a, let's say, a generic paramedic, you know, to use in other lines, then I guess without the helmet and whatnot, it's a good idea. So, little fun fact about old mate here. Working names for him before he became Lifeline were Angel and Last Chance. Now, you can easily see why they wouldn't have gone with Angel. It's pretty basic. But Last Chance is a pretty good one. I like that. I feel like, you know, some of these names they didn't use could be revisited. I think that's a good option. So, looking at the figure, the collar here, it looks great with the zipper. Can he look down? Not really. guess it's going to be hard for him to pay attention to, I don't know, tending to someone's injuries if he can't really look at them. Can he look up? Nope. That is as far as his head goes. Oh, wow. You can go side to side about that much. And of course, you can do a full 360. No problems. There. One thing that jumps out to me immediately is, and it might be a bit hard to see on the camera with the light on, but especially if the camera's not focused, is the nice muted tones of his outfit. You know, this one is a lot brighter, and you'll be able to see that with that comparison there. So I am digging that. I think that's another decision that they've made that is solid. Let's see how these arms are. No issues at all with these arms. This one even might be, oh wow, that's actually quite, I don't know if it's smooth or loose, but it's smooth, but it feels like it's heading to loose land. But anyway, we'll have a look closely at that later. He's got these nice elbow pads. Close up on those. Now, I guess that's supposed to be a pouch. I don't think it's supposed to be an emblem or anything. But yeah, double pinless in the elbows, of course. That one a little clunky, but it works. No problems there either. I am going to quickly do away with the holster here because I want to have a look underneath here. There you go. Sans shoulder holster. You get a good closer look at his medic logo. Of course, they cannot use the red cross. It is trademarked. So that is why he doesn't have it. Torso tilts a little bit, not amazingly. Ab crunch is going to be no issues at all. Prints eat your heart out. And there, all the way back. Like that is very crunchy and it is moving very good. I've just noticed that cut there though. That doesn't look too crash hot, but there is a belt there to kind of conceal it. Speaking of the belt, he does have this other display here. This is not removable. That part, it is molded on. I already showed you the sheath for the knife, but there's another look at it. Over here, you've got a little point. I'd say that's for the torch. Let's just go and see if that fits in there. Dare say it will. Yep. A very small torch, but it does go in there. And those are pouches, obviously, as well. Rescue on the leg. I know that some people had an issue with it being smaller as it is, especially when you compare it to the older figures, where it almost takes up the whole pant leg. I am a little torn on this. As a purist, I like this, but I feel like this also works in terms of it doesn't clutter the figure in that sense, because you've got a bit going on here already, and I guess that was a decision they made. It could also be a costing decision. It might have been a cheaper way of doing it. But anyway, let's see how the old thigh swivel goes with these on. Yeah, they're moving okay. There's the break there in the riding too, so just be mindful of that. And you can get this one all the way around. It's not being inhibited by these. They are probably going to ride up a little bit into the old crutch there, but knee pads look good for a man who's going to be doing a lot of work on the ground. It makes a lot of sense. And in terms of kicking his own ass, he is winning that competition hands down. Figure is moving really nicely. It's got, giving it points for that 100% off the top of my head. Boot cut, yep, it is there. These boots are nice, actually. I like these. Moving very freely. And this one is going to make a liar out of me by the sounds of things. Let's see how far the toe articulates down, though. Not very. You can get, this one's a bit stuck, but oh, there we go. They can go down. They kind of look like Crocs if you were to take out the actual boot part. They look a little bit like Crocs. Nothing wrong with Crocs, guys. I don't own a pair, but I hear that they are mega comfortable. Now, one thing I did want to point out in the arms is this hand. It's moving really well, but I don't know. It looks really big. I don't know if they look like. Look at it. Does it look really big? Let's compare it to Hit and Run's hands. Hang on, let me get this janky gun out of the way. These hands suck, by the way, but that's another story. It looks bigger, I think. Anyway, I don't know what's going on there, but that's how it looks. I'll just show you a look at the back of the figure. It's very, very bare bones. There's not much going on at all. Which is, understandable. It's not a complaint. It's just all business in the front with this guy. And I feel like a good neck and head swap, maybe. Get a Tony's Figs head sculpt on here. What do you reckon, Tone? Make it happen, mate. Make it happen. Someone out there, make it happen. In terms of him wearing the goggles and the helmet, you can get it on very easily. They're probably just riding over a little bit to the side there. They're not sitting quite flush on his nose, but you can get them on, pop the head off, fit them on, and then put the helmet on and away you go. So yeah, even though I don't have them straight, it can be done quite easily. In terms of his glasses, they can be fitted easily once the helmet's on, no problems. They will just slide in. The pliable nature of these helmets makes it, in this case, a non-issue. And even getting on the goggles, as you can see, they're sitting flush there. Neither are coming off anytime soon. So yeah, happy to report that this was struggle-free. So that is good. And yeah, he looks pretty badass with them on. They aren't sitting, again, they're not sitting super flush because you probably have to play around with it a little bit, but you can get them on in there without any struggle. So happy days. In terms of holding his medical case, not a problem at all in either hand as well. This one is definitely, by the way, moving more than the other one. I don't know what the point of that is, if any at all, but it is something that I've noticed. And yeah, he can hold it there as well. It is a bit loosey-goosey, but whatever. If he's going to be running into battle or whatever, he's going to hold it. And as you can see, the backpack looks pretty nice on. Adding to the contrast of the muted red with all the other white. I think that was a great decision on their behalf to do it that way, but still keep some of the grey, silver, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, that's that. But there is a problem with this, and I'm going to talk about that right now. For the life of me, figure out if this is supposed to connect into anything. Now, I'm going to show you this case again. All right, look at it slowly. There's no connection point there. Those are stands for the case to sit. Okay. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Now when you open it up, if it wants to open, you've got all this in here, and there's no point. Oh, that's just come off the hinge, does it? Oh, that's good, isn't it? Oh, that's good. Oh, okay. Get back on there. Anyway, yeah, there's no point. You know what? Let's take this off and have a look. I don't think... Yeah, there's no point in there either. It's just a hinge. There's no point for this to connect into. There's a close-up. Let's look at it this way. There is not a single hole. You would think there would be for it to into. So feel free to tell me if I'm missing something here, folks. Because I just don't see it. I do not see it. And I've looked at the product images as well, and it doesn't, again, like with Hit and Run, it doesn't show you anywhere for it to connect. And if you look again at the figure, there is nothing here. There is nothing here. There's nothing on the belt. There's nothing on the backpack. So how's a person supposed to breathe? I mean, is it just supposed to sit in there? Like, and you just display it like that? Because that's kind of how the image looks on the product site, like with the case open, I mean, right? And it just sits in there. I don't know, but yeah, I'll save that for the end, folks. But tell me, do you guys prefer him with the holster off or on? I mean, both look good in my opinion, but let me know in the comments, how are you going to be displaying yours when you get him? Do you prefer him to have a weapon or not? Let me know. What is your Lifeline headcanon? Now, here's the breather mask on Hit and Run, and he has to obviously hold it there to keep on his face. The OG one had a strap that went around his head. Now, I don't know if that's an outdated practice in terms of actual real world equipment and that they don't have such a thing anymore. But for the sake of an action figure, I feel like doing away with that strap was silly, because without him holding it there, this is what's going to happen. It's just going to pop away from his face. Because it's not going to just suction cup on, is it? Let's just demonstrate. Nope. And of course, there's the pipe to nowhere. So he's literally breathing oxygen. Anyway, he actually needs this, so you can go over there with that, mate. Let's do some comparisons. Here he is with two of his fellow class of 86 alumni. Leatherneck, of course, and the recent sci-fi figure. Which, you know, when you compare the three of them, there is some stark differences in the aesthetics. But that's the beauty of Joe, isn't it? Anyway, if you've made it this far in the review, hit the hype button if you're enjoying it. Let's do another comparison now. Now, it would have been amiss of me if I didn't pair him up with the Legacy Police Officer and the Legacy Firefighter. And as I expected, he fits right in, especially San's helmet. That's a good look. And, you know, of course, we're no doubt going to get an EMS at some point, I'd imagine, and probably will reuse a lot of this stuff, but there's no reason why old mate Lifeline here cannot go in that mix. So, yeah, I think that's a crackerjack lineup right there. Final thoughts. All right, let's start with the good. The muted tones that I mentioned, yep, top marks. Removable holster, top marks. I think, you know, that's going to appeal to a lot of people. The backpack, yep, absolutely, fan of it. The belt, and, you know, the little apps here and here on the belt and the backpack, yep, big tick for both. The amount of accessories, big tick. But the bad. Now, the Classified line, for the most part, has prided itself on the ability of the figures to hold everything that they come with. Like, Doc's a good example of that. He can hold his stretcher, all the pouches, his taser, his flare gun, so on and so forth. But where is this going to go? Where is this going to go? There's nowhere for him to hold them. He has to carry them. The backpack does not open up. There's no, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Like, pretty sure that is fixed. Like, let me just, yeah, it seems like it's one piece. Like, there is a cutout there, but I don't see any way of it opening. And maybe it should have, even though it's a communications backpack. I don't know. I just feel like, you know, he's a medic going into the field. He's going to have to be able to carry this stuff with him. And I think that's a bit of a miss. The blood bag not having, I guess, any blood or plasma in it, you know, that's cost cutting at its finest. That's Hasbro for you. No questions asked right there. It's clear as day. That's what that is. And I think that's also impacted, you know, what I said earlier about the lack of detail in this. And the biggest issue I have with this release is there not being a connection point for this. If I've missed it, then hey, feel free to slam me in the comments. I'll take it, all right? I'll wear it. But I, for the life of me, cannot find it. So there is my challenge to you, the viewer. So that's it. I like the figure. I like some aspects of the figure. I don't love the figure. I mean, I like the figure. I mean, I don't love the release. I think, you know, I think Doc was fantastic. You know, if you go back and watch my review, I'm pretty sure I gave him a glowing rap overall. But yeah, it's just like, I can't say any more than I already have. Slight modifications could have made this a stellar release, and it is not. It is not. You know, if you, again, just a little refresher, compare the detail in something like this on a 4-inch figure as opposed to that. That's enough rambling for one day, folks. I hope you enjoyed the review. And if you have any questions about this figure or hit and run, feel free to hit me up. That's it. That's the whack.